But in terms of numbers, because I went to all the groups, do you know which group had the greatest number? Do you know which one? The Gen Z. Oh my goodness. And for some reason, they were given the biggest hall and they almost filled it. So anyway, Karibu, and your time starts now. You have 7 minutes. Exactly.
Thank you. I hope even to take lesser than that. So we were taking community policing, and we started by looking at the background of community policing, and something interesting came up that some time back when a policeman was asked, what is or where did you come from, or what is the idea of being a police? And at that particular time, he had no idea. So our facilitator took, we discussed on the background of community policing. And like it had been mentioned in the morning, that people wanted to have, to live in stability, or that structure being organized, but they didn't know how. And therefore, this comes from the social contract theory. This is the origin of the background of community policing, whereby the people came up and decided that they want to live in an organized manner, but then how? And following these, therefore, there was the need to have the police as the custodian of the people who are going to enforce whatever has been agreed upon to be the guiding rules, what we can call the Constitution. And looking at the preamble of the Constitution, we say that we the people, so it's the people who have given consent to the Constitution, that the laws that are therein, we are giving them to a particular group to safeguard it, and therefore that is the background of community policing. And we also saw that policing comes by consent. It is not by coercion, and therefore it is something interesting that policing cannot be done by coercion. It has to be through consent. We also looked at a number of principles that come with community policing. One was in our country, Kenya, for instance, and we realized that the Kenyan population is majorly a youthful population, and just like Daktari has said here, that when we went for the breakout sessions, the youth had the youth group was the biggest. And therefore, if we look at the Kenyan population, the issues that are affecting the people are affecting the youth majorly, because they are the ones who have the bigger numbers. If you look at the Kenyan population, for instance, as it stands now, it is 55 million Kenyans versus a task force of 110,000 police officers. And that tells you that one police officer is in charge of around 500 people. One police officer who is in charge of around, if you do that maths, you'll be able to find of community policing being a people-centric approach, that we are going to take charge of what belongs to us, and not just leaving the issue to the police per se. And to finalize, we looked at some of the challenges that are facing, is that there is underfunding or absolutely lack of funding to facilitate community policing. For instance, in the financial year 2022-2023, community policing was allocated 16 million for the whole year. You can imagine what that is supposed to mean, having 1,300 police stations all over Kenya, whereby you're supposed to be having a community help desk in every police station. There are people who are supposed to be in charge of the same. So the issue of funding is a big challenge. We made some recommendations, is that one, community policing, like I mentioned earlier, should not only be by coercion, but through consent. Therefore, it has to come from the people. It has to be something happens and we are looking to cure the same. Community policing should be to prevent an occurrence of something rather than dealing with the circumstances after they have happened. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alfred, for that presentation. And the group, I was checking and I've remembered that the leader of that group was Marianne Mwangi. I believe you are. Yes, and thank you very much for coordinating that. I think we're getting very good case studies coming from different places and what is being done. If you are like me, you will have borrowed a leaf from one or the other in order for you to take something home. But to help us even further, I would like us to have a very brief session of Q&A, a very brief one, before I call in Dr. Amoyo to come and help us to chart the way forward. Is there a question that was not asked, a question that you feel has not been answered? I would like to give a maximum of 4 people. And once again, like I said, it will be great if you're asking out of the presenters that we had this morning. It will be good if you ask to a particular person. It's easier to pick a question from the beginning rather than asking a general one. But secondly, if you are asking to one of the groups that have presented for this afternoon, I will still ask that you tell us which particular one so that they can pick it up immediately. So, any question? Show me by show of hand if you have a question. I do not want you to go home and say, I wanted to ask, but I was not given a chance. I wanted to say something, I wasn't. So far, there is no question. You don't know how happy I am. Oh, there is one. You know, he changed 2 things. He changed his sitting position, and secondly, he wore a jacket, so he looks quite different now. So could we have the mic going back to Mr. Mwangi or Kangede Simon? And it's another Mr. Mwangi who is taking the mic. No wonder he's going fast. Yes, we had asked him to wait for the question, and he has been here waiting to ask that question. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. My question is not to a specific person, it's a general one, although you caution us not asking a general one, but let me ask. When you talk about conflict, when we look at it globally, as well as regionally, all the way to the local level, it does appear that conflict is a commercialized activity. And why am I saying this? If you look at the politics right now in USA, it's about Second Amendment rights, the owning of the guns. And we are living in a situation whereby the rich nations are in the race actually in Africa. If you look at the regional level, the reason why the conflict, the one we call inter-ethnic or whatever we call them conflict, they are actually resource-based. And the people who are exploiting these resources are not the locals, is actually the developed countries. If you look for an example, Congolese people have no reason for fighting each other. It's about who controls the mineral, who controls the cobalt, who controls the diamonds, who controls all these. And that's the essence why Microsoft would come and have an establishment in a country, Rwanda, which is next to Congo, therefore furthering the conflict, whereby there is an accusation from Congo that Rwanda has actually been supporting. Then the community will allow me to go cattle, not rustling, but what was the word that we used? It wasn't cancelling. It was actually, whatever word it is, it wasn't cancelling.
Cattle borrowing.
Yeah, the cattle borrowing. So that at least I can be able to pay dowry. And then after that, once I've paid the dowry, you will come for your cattle again. But right now, you know, the reason why we are having this cattle answering is because there are people who are in the business of selling meat. So my question is, knowing very sure that the conflict we are talking about is a commercialized activity by the, you know, agglomerates in this world, then are we right to say, to have this kind of forum and say we are talking about peace, when we know for sure peace will not be established until commercializing of conflict stops?
Okay, thank you very much. I gave him a lot of time for two reasons. First of all, in the morning he didn't get a chance. And secondly, he was the only one with a question. But let me, before I ask my panelists to answer, I now also want to make my remarks. Oh, there's another one. Elizabeth, we had agreed that Kanini doesn't speak much. Now what has happened? Okay, let's hear to balance, because in the morning there was an accusation that we did not have many ladies asking questions.
Yeah, my question is very short. Since morning we have been reflecting and rethinking about security in Africa. And I'm a bit concerned about what is happening in our continent. We have a lot of people at the grassroots. And when we talk about violence, when we talk about people fighting, when we talk about people dying, these are the people. But when it comes to this peace building, rethinking about security, there is a lot of gap. There is a very big gap. The people at the grassroots are like actually dry grass. You only need to go with a matchbox and light. Immediately start fighting. And they're the most powerful people. What are we doing about this? The wars are going on and on. New wars are coming. Genocide are being cooked at the grassroots. What are the preventive measures are we putting in place? Because we'll be running from this country to prevent this war, another country. What can we do so that we can build even these people at the grassroots to kind of rebuild their relationship and find ways in which they can work for their own peace, so that we can stop actually talking about this insecurity in Africa and talk about development and other things which can support the people. Asanteni.
Thank you very much. How can we change the narrative? We cannot talk about out of the box without changing the narrative. We cannot talk about rethinking without changing the narrative and putting the emphasis where it should be. I was saying that I was going to make a few comments, so I'm going to ask our panelists to make a comment or two on that, maybe just a comment. Let me not go to the two. But let me say that I have really enjoyed myself this morning all the way to this afternoon, listening to the different presentations. They have been so enriching. My area is religions, and I have heard from different speakers talk about religion, mentioning it in passing. And I had preparation and planning for this conference that maybe in the future we could have a slot and talk about the role of religion in bringing peace or even dealing with matters of conflict. One of the major problems that we have is that religion is easily used, and I want to begin from where Elizabeth has left. Why is it that it is so easy for something to be used to ignite the fire on the ground? Why have we become so susceptible to this kind of a situation? You know, the slightest provocation and we are on fire. What is the problem? And that is how religion comes in. Religion is a very sentimental thing. And you touch on religion and everybody is going to be on fire. You go this way, you go the other way. Somebody told me, did you hear what Professor Macharia said about religion? You know, and I was like, yes, I heard. And why he said so many things, but why did you pick on that one about what he said about religion? Why did you pick on that particular one? Because it is a touchy matter and it is a bit sensitive. In Africa, for instance, you've had a number of people have talked about the fact that we politicize religion and we religionize politics. We are in that habit of politicians. I can give you many examples, but let me use the local context based on what Kangeda was saying. If you look at our context, before, during the run-up to the 2022, many of our politicians were very pious. In fact, they were not missing any single church service. In fact, it was Mwadhani Agosho, Bwana Asifiwe, praise the Lord. Today, nobody goes to church. The narrative has changed completely, and so it was the religionization of politics to get what you want, and after that it is over. But listen, it is even worse when it comes to matters of conflict. Conflict that is about resources like we've had will easily be laced with matters of religion to make that group to fight this other group, and so that there is no peace. In short, I'm saying there are very many parameters to this, but because many of us here are people of religion, we should avoid a situation where we are being used or religion is being used to make us to fight. If people are fighting about oil, can we deal with matter? Can become one of the hotbeds of politics, of conflict within this continent and even beyond. So allow me to pause there. I loved many of the sayings that Professor Macharia gave us, very interesting ones, like telling us to think critically. But I liked the one that he said that we must create an environment of common sense. It reminded me that sense is not very common. He also talked about we should reduce the dependency on the finance and opinion from others and start growing locally grown solutions to some of our issues, thoughts, and even riches. If others are getting rich out of our resources, why can't we convert those riches to benefit ourselves? Why are we losing the resources and in the end, we are left with the conflicts? I'm sure DRC Congo has been quoted many times, and I don't think that they benefit as much. The poverty levels, they have been to Goma, have been to Lubumbashi, have been to several places, and the level of poverty is not encouraging. And the last that I picked from there was too many African policymakers are ignorant of the strategies that they need to use in order to get us out of the problems. And that is why the alternative governments, through CBOs, through non-governmental organizations, through other private players, seem to be doing a lot. And I'm not castigating any government. I'm just saying, do our civic education so that our people understand. This may look as if it is an ivory tower kind of a situation. We came to a good place, we seated well, we ate well, we engaged with people even from the AU and other places. The only difference that is going to be made is if you pick something that you can go and implement at the grassroots level and make it useful. Learn something and go and put it into practice. Jesus says, blessed are you, not just when you hear it, but when you put this word into practice. Ina amina. Memaliza. That is not how you clap for a moderator. Anyway, allow me now to just use this time briefly, 2 minutes, just to ask our speakers either to capture any aspect of the questions that have been asked or just to sum up and say a parting shot, a word that we will remember you for. And just briefly, please make it brief so that we can hear everybody, and then we will ask. We want to start with you.
No, I'm not going to challenge him. I will take it silently. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you so much for your valid comments over what we've done this day. And it is very clear that we are united in working towards peace, but much more so looking at both the causes and breeding local responses rather than waiting for responses from outside. I still hold the fact that an intersectional approach to violence is important, especially to violence against women, children, and other marginalized groups. It is important to expose the roots of violence, and it is also important to begin to look for ways to transform those systems that dehumanize. It is important also to dismantle those systems that uphold violence and look at the fact that peace, justice, and liberation are all values that we hold. All religions, if I talk from a religious perspective, have an intrinsic view that all are created by God. And if we begin from there, then we are able to go on to change. And finally, I'm reminded of the story of the hummingbird by Wangari Maathai, that when there was a fire and every other bird was running away, the hummingbird thought, I better do something. And for peace in our continent, each one of us has a role to play. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first thing I would like to say is thank you for inviting us, and then proceed by saying that we should not forget that if you want to change the world, be ready to die for change. Jesus changed the world by accepting to suffer and to die on the cross, and that is how we are here. So let us not dream that we can bring about peaceful solutions, security in Africa, and thinking that we cannot, maybe we may not lose our lives. It might cost our blood. So today we are happy having people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated for the cause he was having, people like Thomas Sankara and co. So let us learn that if we want to bring change, be ready to die for it. Otherwise, just in theory, but people have died for it. Second thing, when it comes to peace, there is one Congolese musician, Franklin Bukaka, who said something like this: if a tiger enters your compound, and even if you speak this language, you say, I am Luo, I am Kikuyu, I am Kamba, the tiger is going to kill you. It doesn't understand your language. So it is food for thought. Last thing is that we have not used much about Pan-Africanism. We Africans, we are full of contradictions with ourselves. We talk about Pan-Africanism, but we don't practice it. We talk about African passport by 2018, but we impose visas to our own brothers. So why should Rwandese and Congolese fight each other if they realize that they are members of the same family? If Pan-Africanism is really brought to the people, well, let us come together as brothers and sisters and share peace as a river which is going to benefit all. It's because we say, but we don't do. Thank you.
Thank you. I first of all would like to enter into the question on the proliferation of weapons in the DRC situation, and then end with some general remarks. So first of all, you are perfectly right that the proliferation, the commercial market of selling weapons benefits mostly to the rich countries. I gave the example of the Ukraine and Israeli Gaza, where 50,000 tons of military material is delivered to conquer a small piece of land. The same, and we ask ourselves the question, how is it possible that such military material is delivered, is continue to be delivered in the several crises that also occur here in Africa. So you're perfectly right that first of all, it benefits to this commercial circuit where the rich countries benefit most. But I think, on the other hand, it's a shared responsibility because on the DRC crisis, there is a certain responsibility of those who sponsor this M23 rebellion. Lots of people talk about the Rwandan responsibility. That's also a fact. But at the other hand, in the other country, there's also a responsibility because there are also local Congolese politicians, commercial people who benefit to that. I myself experienced how regional politicians who gather in the regional parliament during the week go out in the villages to give weapons, to hand out weapons to local defense, just to aggress other groups, other villages with that adagio, if we do not conquer them, if we do not kill them, they will kill us. And that's also a part of the responsibility. So I think that in a critical way, we have to make objective analysis of situation. It's not, or one party is bad and the other is good. No, normally in several cases, the responsibility is shared and several parties bear an enormous responsibility in that. And that brings me to a general remark, and there really I followed the presentation of Kevin, and there again, and with Patrick we had an interesting discussion where Kevin asked himself, so how can we as youngsters avoid the errors, the mistakes the older generation makes? So we are here in a university where young people are trained to have a critical attitude, to make analysis, to share with each other, with professors, the way of viewing, to improve the way of the critical way of viewing things, to make their analysis, and in that way improve the situation. I think that openness is very, very, very promising. If you can maintain and improve that attitude to learn, do not make mistakes from the former generations, and learn from each other, from other experiences, from other crises, etc., then we can go ahead. And then, and that's the last question, you know, how can war ends? War ends only where communities who know what's the situation do not approve that political leaders dominate the situation and take decisions that are not in their interests. And that's the final critical analysis that youngsters, that the young generations can implement within their communities as from a grassroots approach to avoid that we make the same mistakes again and again. So thank you for this conference, and hope that these youngsters will really. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I move, I'm thinking about this piece like a river. Remember the three examples. I think those are going to stick with me for a long time. The bird, the pot, and the river. I thought the river is not very peaceful. But now that you explained it, I actually got it very well. But I like the inclusivity of Professor Mombo. Professor Mombo is saying there will be no peace as long as everybody is not on the table. And Prof here is also bringing a very, very good point and saying that we must come with homegrown solutions. We must think, particularly about the young people. We have made mistakes. In fact, many of you are fighting battles that you have no idea how they came about. Yet you are in a position to give us a new direction. And we were having a lunch discussion with Professor Munene, and we were saying, you know, when you went to the streets and the things that you were able to accomplish, we were put to shame. Particularly the older ones, we were left thinking, was it that easy? A whole finance bill was withdrawn, everything silenced? Yes, like Dr. Mbila says, blood was shed, people died, others have disappeared. But if that was the price that had to be paid, at the end of the day, something was done. And young people, I want to encourage you, even as I go to this other side, in small ways, sit together and come up with solutions that are going to help you and help all of us to get out of some of the messes that we find ourselves in. Don't shy away, just do it. You know that you can count on us. We don't have the energies that we used to have yesterday, but through experience, we have some wisdom.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed myself today. I've learned a lot. I learned something every day. So thanks. Let me respond to a comment at yes, conflict entrepreneurs exist. Not in one place, but almost everywhere. How to deal with them? They are very powerful. Like the drug dealers, extremely powerful. And they have the resources. And they thrive in creating conflicts. And some of them then pretend that they are going to help solve the conflicts that they created. There's a paradox. A little book was published, I think, 2010, by a lady called Linda Pullman. And he talked about the Congo, how the people who are fueling the chaos with guns and everything, in another way then turn around and they are now the peacemakers. So that's a reality that we have to face. Things are not good. That's true. They are not good in Kenya. They are not good in Africa. That is not good reason to lose hope, irrespective of how difficult things are or appear to be. It is not reason to give up. But in continuing the struggle to right things, it is necessary to be knowledgeable, to know, and to ask difficult questions. And sometimes asking difficult questions can be very difficult, because the people being asked may not be very amused. But as long as people are asking questions, hope is there, and eventually things will work out. So the point is, don't lose hope, irrespective of what.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I feel blessed, first of all, to be here. And the feeling that I'm having, just like my elder here, is actually, I think this is the right place I was supposed to be. I have learned a lot, and then I want to pick from what you have just said, sir. The knowledge. I remember maybe I had also an experience actually of a religious life, as those who know me, and then I started asking questions to the point that I was like disturbing. I want to know, I want to understand lies. I don't want to challenge some of us here because we have different understanding. And this is a message, you know, both I find myself like in the transition. Then you can see I'm seated in the middle of my elders. So I have to, is a transition. So I'm picking from them and then also giving back to the younger ones. And then this is a whole process. But the challenge I came to realize is that from the knowledge, if you were, as the youth, the more you are knowledgeable about things, the more you start to understand the world and how things are working. I may not talk about everything here, but I have been actually in either diplomatic missions, peace missions. You are with people, you believe you guys are going to discuss about peace, how you're going to find peace, but they are still discussing about delivering guns and then other stuff, and you are part of that, so you, at the end, you are angry, but you can't do anything. Because, yes, there are cartels everywhere, and the more we are moving, dynamics of conflict are changing, and the world in which we are living, the young generation, be prepared that things are going to be tougher and more tough than it used to be. We might think that our fathers, during the liberation of the colonials and the independence, it was not that easy, and that's why they were killed. Many were killed. As now, as of today, things are not easy for us, but we need to think of what legacy we are leaving behind. Because our kids, things will not be easier as well. Now we are in an era where we have the artificial intelligence. And I'm thinking of how many jobs will be cut down in the next 10, 20 years, where will be unemployment. So if we don't think of creating jobs, other ways of either employment and entrepreneurship, so there are many jobs. If we continue relying on classical jobs, on the state providing all these employment, you can think of what will happen because the rate of unemployment in all African continent is getting higher and higher, and I don't think it will reduce after, even if you create industries. But if we go by the rate that each woman will make, I don't know how many babies, but it will be a power as a continent, but it will be also a challenge. So the worry is that our daily life, will be more insecure if we are not doing much, we are not working much. So we need job security, yes, fine, but we need to think outside the box. How do we do it? And this should come from the change of narratives. We are in the Great Lakes region where there are many lies sometimes that can fuel tension. It starts from the community level, but we need to start appreciating one another and embrace the differences, work together toward the change we want. But that change starts with ourselves. And the change narratives, once I start changing myself and understanding that we are all in the same struggle and we can also support each other to achieve more, then that way we'll have to understand, like you mentioned, sir, the bill was withdrawn, and then I will believe that strategically have engaged with some of the youth, think now what you are ready to achieve next, learning from the past mistakes, strategize more. It will not be by destroying, and I know many were not there, but believe that politicians will still come in and spoil your movement if you are not strategic enough, and you need to learn always from the elders. That's the only way. If we are here, we are actually the image of what our fathers were on, the forefathers, and our children will be what we are today and what the legacy we're going to give them. So the change starts with ourselves, and to change we need knowledge and to understand that we are in a global situation, that it's a situation of a struggle. We really need to struggle in order to liberate ourselves. As Mandela was saying, the struggle continues, and let's be part of that, but in a peaceful way, by also embracing the changes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, let's appreciate them. And finally,
thank you very much. I would like to share with you that I'm really wondering for myself why I'm not tired and fatigued at the end of such a dense and important day. and in hearing our comments and also this final plenary, I realize that I could not imagine, and that is why I'm excited and not tired, I could not imagine that within one day, opening this space with St. Paul's University and our impact from the scenario and from the RRS, I could not imagine that within one day we are already out of the box. You know, we had in the pacifist, in the non-violent, in the peace movement in Africa, we have so many progress. We have, as I said at the beginning, we have so many active, courageous people, associations, initiatives and projects. And we heard in sharing with the breakout groups, we heard how, some witnessing of this active and good practice. But the idea is how now we can go further out of this box of good practice and tackling the issues, the business of war, the masculinity of war, the implication of structural violence, to have to tackle and to be aware of the interconnectivity of sources of violence and of solutions of violence. If we have ethical problems, we need ethical solutions and no military solutions. You know, all these issues from your questions, from our discussion, is actually for me the indicator that we are already out of the box. And this is, I would like to call for all of us to keep this thinking, to keep this questioning, as long as people put questions, so that we can now go to a next level. We keep our strength in non-violence, in peace building, in community building, but we dare now to tackle the other issues, how to deal with the entrepreneurs of conflict, how to deal with masculinity and to develop a new masculinity, how to, or gender-based solutions and all this. I think we as the peace builders, we need to train and to apply nonviolent communication, pacifism, but we have also to step into helping a systemic change. Otherwise, we stick in the box. And this is, I feel encouraged. Thank you so much from my heart.
Thank you very much. We have done very well. I had intentionally left Herbert to be the last one because there is a place where he was supposed to talk, and he has already talked. I want to come this side. There is a gentleman here who has been very quiet, and he is in full uniform. I just want to ask him to greet us and tell us whether this is helpful for him. And you appreciate him. You know, he came early and he's been here all through. And somebody is saying that I should put on your hat, but don't worry.
Thank you, Dr. Good evening. I think I'm going to echo every other speaker. Session has been very beneficial to us, and I believe we have acquired, we are going to go into practice. Because peace, from my point of view, will start from the family unit, from where you come from. When you implement from that point, we are going to achieve what we are envisioning from this platform. I came to present my sub-county police commander, Limulu, Madam Meli, as well as the OCS Tigoni, Inspector Murithi, OC Claim Tigoni Police Station. She sent me apologies, she could not make it due to other emergencies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Of course, we have to test the ground. These are the people on the ground on a daily basis. If they say that it is going well, who are we to say that it didn't go well? Sini pazuri hapo. Wonderful. Let me now invite Dr. Wamuyu, kindly come. She's going to wrap it up for us quickly in terms of the action, just quickly, and then after that, we'll do the closing thing and we will be out of here in the shortest time possible. Kanina ni kweli wa milele Mungu wa baraka. Anafanya nini maisha ya zungukia anafanya nini maisha ya anazungukia maisha. Oh Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. Hiyo imetosha. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I was asking for permission. How is everybody? I see smiles, yes. I want to bring greetings from the members of Pax Christi International from across the globe. They are in many, many countries. We have one here, one from very far, Jeroen, who was sitting there from the Netherlands. We have other members from here. Maybe they can stand that we see them. The Pax Christi group that is here. Please stand, because this is the only opportunity you will have to show yourself. Yeah, so we have Kanini, she's a director, the founder and director of, what is it, Horn of Africa? Yeah, Horn of Africa Grassroots. And also, I am the co-president Pax Christi International, and with me is a bishop emeritus, Max Tonje. So I bring his greetings to you all. Yeah, so have you received those greetings? Because I'm sure they are watching wherever they are. Now, the task I've been given is to, I've been listening on the ground, but not the other listening on the ground that you know. What are people saying? What do they want to do after this? So first, this afternoon, we have heard from the different groups, so I'll just capture very briefly what they have said, and then what I have heard since this morning. From the young people, we heard that they want to engage in fostering of education, quality education. That's where their energy is, not in violence. They also want to shift from militaristic approaches or attention to development. Those were the two I captured, but there are many more that they had. Then from the holistic approach group, they were kind of saying they want us to create spaces where everybody can engage, especially the vulnerable people. And they did mention those who are abled differently, as well as the vulnerable communities. So they were talking about inclusivity at all levels. Then from the community policing, they want us to move from coercion, kind of using force to make people move and engage in preventive measures as opposed to firefighting. Now, from the speakers, they were asked to summarize. And I think from the first speaker, she was talking about us paying attention to intersectional approach to violence, especially against women and the vulnerable community. And she's also asking us to look for ways to transform and deconstruct, dismantle structures that uphold violence. And she didn't mention about peace, justice, and liberation. Then she took us to the hummingbird, saying that we all have a role to play in this. Then the other speaker, that is Father Dr. Mbila, he said if we have to change, then we have to be ready to die. So what is he telling us? It's not an easy path to take. Then, of course, he talked about Pan-Africanism and gave us the image of the tiger. That is our homework, so you are a good teacher. From the other speaker, he was addressing the issue of weapons, weaponization of, there was a question there about it becoming a business, and he was responding to that. And also he did pick a question from our young people about how do we avoid the mistakes that our elders have made, and he encouraged them to keep engaging. Then, and then from the other speaker, I think what I captured mainly, he was saying how it is a challenge when we are talking about peace, and at the same time, people want more weapons to come. So that dichotomy of, the two being together, where you want to peace, and yet at the same time, there are those who want violence. And lastly, we have a very energized speaker who is feeling very energized and inviting us. We are already outside the box, but I think we haven't really gone. So we are being asked, he's pushing us to move. I hope I've represented you well. I had a very short time to put that together. Now, let me talk about call to action. From now, the whole of this conference, what I gathered since morning to now, and I was listening to different people. I listened to the representative of the Vice Chancellor saying what she would like us to do. I listened to many other people that I was meeting. They were asking me, oh, you have this conference. What is it about? What are you going to do differently? So one, the call to action, we are being called to engage in publication as a university. So are we going to engage in journal writing? Are we going to engage in our challenge? So we have to think about that. The other one is inform the university network. We have other universities that are either represented here or outside. So how are we going to pass this fire that we have experienced today? How are we going to pass that? And for St. Paul, I know we are engaging with other faith-based universities. So I think we could start there for us. The other universities, the other groups that are here, civil society, how are we going to engage and pass this fire to other people? And then from Hubert, when he was presenting, he was talking about, he talked about a scenario, installing a task force to establish a scenario. You remember the scenario? That's homework. When you see his slides, you look at those scenarios and see how you are going to engage with that. How are we going to establish that? Then I heard from Hubert's group saying they need to organize a RAS side event in one of the next AU event. That's what they're inviting, the AU. So Father Mbila and Ambassador, you are being invited to have a side event, either a retreat or plenary session about this, what we have done today. Then there is an invitation from my group, the Pax Christi International, because we are also party. As you can see, our logo is there. Ours is an invitation to a paradigm shift, and Kanini has expressed that. Today we met in this forum. The next thing, can we move from this space and go to the grassroots and meet there and have our conversation there? because 3/4 of those who suffer violence are not in this room. They are out there. So the next time we need to go there and have a discussion there. And we are inviting us to shift from thinking in militaristic ways, thinking in militaristic way, behaving in militaristic ways by training ourselves to be nonviolent people, and also going out there and training other people to shift from thinking that violence can be a way of life. It can never, and research has shown that. So that is from Pax Christi International. We are also inviting each one of us, either you write a letter or you push your government to push the monies away from military, supporting the military centers, put it towards education, healthcare, infrastructure. That's where we begin by rethinking Africa security. So I think I've captured everybody. Yes. So I did. Okay. Then I've been allowed by our moderator to invite one special person here. Pax Christi engages also with a group called Pact Pan. Now, Pact Pan is, she will explain, but it's a group of theologians from Africa who are writing and engaging in Africa Palaver, where we engage at all levels. We have leaders from the top to the grassroots engaging in the same platform to discuss issues. And in that platform, nobody has a title. Everybody, whether you're a bishop or whoever, you engage in what we call Africa Palaver. Everybody is engaging equally. So that for us is a first step. And the other thing is that from that Pact Pan, we were invited by the Pope to engage young people in kind of looking at their spaces, you know, the digital spaces. So we are training the young people in digital spaces so that they can go and start engaging with that digital space to bring a different type of world. So I would like to, and you have been given, I think, 2 minutes. Yeah, Sister Jane Kimathi, she's the director, so she'll just talk for 2 minutes. Karibu.
Good evening, everybody. All protocol observed. As she has said, we don't have title within the PATSPAN network. My name is Sister Jane Kimathi. I'm a Kenyan, and I belong to the Sisters for Christian Community. I'm the Director of Program for Pan-African Catholic Theology and Pastoral Network, and we call it PATSPAN. And it is an international movement, and mostly all the members, 99% of members come from Africa, and all the countries apart from Algeria. So we are hoping we'll be able to reach in Algeria. And we are partners. Pax Christi is our partner, so we work very closely with the Pax Christi. Dr. Wamoyo is one of the big person for training the young people, as she has said. We have just graduated over 130 young people, and this is initiative from the Pope. Most of you being Catholic or not Catholic, you know that all the youth go to meet once a year in a country that is chosen. But the African youth, maybe we sent 5 or 10. So the money that was collected, this is the first year, in Portugal, the Pope said, I give it to African youth. So we have been training the African youth. So each one of them has gotten $1,000 to go and start implementing a digital program within their places. So we are very pleased. Personally, I'm presenting the director, not the director, the coordinator who is in the US, Chicago, and he knows I'm here, and he's very excited. He said this morning, go to St. Paul and make sure we'll be networking and have partnership with St. Paul. So we'll be happy to have partners with St. Paul. And we can see all the youth that are here. We also train, we are economical. So we don't choose Catholics or non-Catholics, we all work across. We have all the religions. We also train sisters, fathers, priests, and any other people that are interested in training for leadership. So we'll be able to be reaching you people through Sister Dr. Wamoyo, so that we can be able to work closely. And within that, we also have, we are recognized by the Vatican. Right now, we have just finished writing a beautiful book on synod and synodality, and the Pope was very happy about it. And all the people that are participating, the African bishops, they have gotten a copy, and they appreciate because I'm not very wrong, Dr. Wamoyo has got a written part there. So, and we also partner with Tangaza. Our office is going to start in Tangaza next month, Tangaza University. So we are working closely with Tangaza University. We have finished our MOU with Tangaza. So thank you very much, and it's an opportunity to work with the St. Paul. I'm a Catholic sister, but my background is a Protestant. So I grew up as a Protestant till I went to high school, I changed. So my prayers is Protestant. So I belong to this place. This is my place. Thank you very much. And thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Jane. So my parting shot is go out there and fire the world and help the world to get outside the box.
Thank you very much, sister. She looks very at home today because there are so many sisters around. Amuyu, wataenda tu tutabaki. Anyway, wonderful. It is actually great. We have finished that part. We want now to do the last bit. And I don't know whether, as we do the closing remarks, whether Herbert, you would like to come again, or you are okay with the comments that you made? Okay. Wonderful. And that message has been received in many ways. Even we will be able to replay it so that we can catch up with it. So allow me to invite back here the Vice Chancellor. But before I invite the Vice Chancellor, I will invite Mr. Michael Mungai, who is going to, yes, I can see, to do the vote of thanks, and then the Vice Chancellor. That's what has been presented to me. So I will ask him to make some comments, and then after that, we will invite the DVCs and the acting VC so that they can make the closing remarks. Once they finish, I will just come and do the final thing, direct you to where you're going to go. We'll do the closing remarks, and it will be okay. So, Karibu, we start with you, Michael.
Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Mutei. Can we give him a loud of appreciation? Better than that one. Thank you so much for being a very good moderator. I remember yesterday when we were discussing about today's program, we told him that he had the most difficult work to ensure that everyone presents within the about 8 or 9 hours that were allocated there, and even having those short breaks. Now, because of time, I will not take much time. As I've been introduced, my name is Michael Mungai, and I serve St. Paul's University as a corporate affairs manager dealing with communication and public relations and marketing activities. Before I invite the DVC to come and move a vote of thanks, the DVC in charge of academic affairs, you know, the book of the Bible tells us that in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 that the head of a matter is better than, are we together? I thought we all went to Sunday school. Yes? The end of a matter is better than the beginning. And why was that quoted? You know, the end is more everlasting, while the beginning could be temporary. Are we together? We are getting to the end. And you see what we are coming up with here, we want it to be everlasting. Are we together? Maybe by the time we were beginning, we never knew where this will lead us to. But now we already have a direction. I like the remarks from Dr. Wamoyo. We need to light up the fire, right? So I believe from this conference, we are going to go places. And we will remember how we started and where we are going to. Again, you know, for those who have not walked outside, in the morning when we were starting, we started when it was very sunny, very hot. For those who have not walked out of this door since we came back, the weather have changed. I don't know whether it's because of the peace and the security and safety that we have been talking about. I can't remember the last time we saw lanes here in Emuru. It's about 3 or 4 weeks. But today I'm sure it is going to rain. I think it's because of the peace that we have talked about, the safety and the African security. So thank you so much because of that. Allow me to invite the DVC to come and give us a vote of thanks. Then after that, he is going to invite the acting VC to also come and give her closing remarks. And then we will come to wrap up as I direct you on the other things that we'll do after this. You're most welcome, Prof. Let's appreciate him. Thank you.
Good evening, all. I was here at the beginning, and I'm here at the end. And looking at the faces look brighter than they were in the morning, meaning that a lot of discussion, good discussion, has ensued here, and we are grateful. Let me thank all of you for coming to St. Paul's University. If you haven't had time, I hope you will to tour the campus. It's a good campus, a good one. Green and looking very, very nice. But thinking about peace and security, as you may know, well, you can probably guess my age. A few times peace has been threatened in Kenya during my life. I think the first one, I was much younger than I am. It was 1982. There was an attempted coup. Those of you who were not born, you read in the books of history that there was one, 1982, and there was an attempted coup. Our parents and older siblings were the one now interpreting for us what that meant or what it would mean. Because you know what that means. You are well secured in your parents' house. I think the second time that we came close is 2007, post-election violence. And that, I think, a number of us would remember. But outside of this country, I made a tour, the only time I have been there, I've been to Israel. And coming from Haifa city to go to Jerusalem, we rode in a bus. And for whatever reason, as you know, it's not a very big country, as we rode in the bus, they showed us the wall that divides the two countries. I wondered, 2 countries, which 2 countries here? It's a very small place. All of a sudden, a sense of insecurity came to me, and you feel, am I safe? Of course I was. And so went to Jerusalem, the old Jerusalem, and you are walking those narrow pathways and so forth. And then a guy then tells me, welcome to Palestine. You are in this shop, the next shop, they tell you, welcome to Palestine. And you're wondering, where am I? Am I secure? Am I safe? I think when we think about security and peace, it's not just in Africa. As we know, I think we have quite a bit of insecurity and absence of peace in a number of countries and areas. I think Middle East comes at the top. And as you know, that particular area is a very strategic area for all of us. I hope that the discussions have come up with solutions and way forward. I came in when one of us was giving their way forward, and I like that. But I have been asked to move a vote of thanks to people who have made this conference possible. And so I would like to pick a few of you. Number one is Balgasi Gonzago Patrick. I hope I did. Thank you very much from Burundi. Amakuru. Very good. And then Father Dr. Bilu from AU in Ethiopia. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Ethiopia. That's a good country. Ante denane, Xabeli Mazgana, Yamasigralo. That tells you that I have a root there. I actually schooled there. Then Professor Masharia Monene from the United States International University in Africa. Thank you, Mzee. Newe done a good job. And always doing a very good job on TV. He comes on TV, and I like his perception of issues. Not emotional like some people. Some people are banging tables on studio. But Professor Monene, cool, calm, collected, and dissecting issues as they come. I like listening to him. And then our own Professor Esther Mombo. What a great lady. Where is my professor? Thank you, Prof. Doing a very good job and has been here. These are some of the pillars of St. Paul's University. You wouldn't complete St. Paul without mentioning the names such as Professor Esther Mombo. Professor Martin Walls from Belgium. Thank you, sir. Belgium, you do very nice football, by the way, and good at peacekeeping, I hope. Thank you very much. And then Mr. Herbert Heint from Germany. Thank you so much. We like talking in Kenya. So we distinguish whether you are driving a vehicle or a German machine. But the people who drive the German machines in Kenya cannot say machine. They say machine. So are you driving a German machine? Thank you very much. And then, of course, our partners, and they are all listed there on that. Thank you very much who made this possible. I am very sure that we have our student in here. If you're a student, kindly raise your hand. Thank you. Our students are here. Thank you. We are entrusting this country, the continent, indeed the globe to you. Please move on, pass on the baton to the next generation after we have passed it on to you. We truly appreciate. It's now my singular honor to invite our acting Vice Chancellor, Reverend Trufosa Kwaka Sumba. Let's put our hands together as we welcome her. She keeps our monies very secure, and just in case you need money, you only need to talk to Reverend. You'll get a few shillings.
Thank you, Prof. DVC. You've made a promise. I hope you'll keep your own promise, especially about the money. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of what I would call a beautiful day. A beautiful day because as a people, we have begun to reimagine what Africa could be like. And so in my concluding remarks, I do not wish to start another speech, but really to appreciate again, following up with what DVC has presented, just to say how much we appreciate each and every one of you for coming. Allow me to say thank you again to those who dreamt that this could be possible. I appreciate so much UPA. I appreciate Pax Christi, Peace Network, and definitely St. Paul's University. Why don't we clap for all these organizations? I also cannot fail to recognize not only our plenary speakers, but also our breakout sessions, those who've taken time to delve into the details of what this peace needs to look like. Thank you so much to Margaret Super. Thank you. Karen Kibuchi. Oh, come on, appreciate them. Yes, thank you. I appreciate Miss Mary Njoki. Where is Mary? Okay. Karanja Moraya, who's one of our partners. He's helping us and we work together with him on Kiambu Action Plan. I also appreciate Kevin Vundi. We are proud of you. Where are you, Kevin? If that is how you give. Yes, there is Kevin. We are proud of you. Agnes Harao, where are you? Agnes, wonderful. And really to each and every one of you for coming, for engaging. We are truly, truly grateful. Our moderator, where are you? He's done a good job and we salute you, sir. Thank you very much. To the committee who have worked tirelessly, we want to thank you again so much for all the work you have put in. I'm reminded I need to also recognize Jeron. Yes, I had actually, now you are just part of us. We really, please say thank you to him. All the way from the Netherlands, he has come to be with us and just to be part of this great gathering. This is how I'd like to conclude tonight. God's name, one of God's names is Jehovah Shalom. Isn't it amazing? That God, among all the names he would give himself, one of those is Shalom. I do not wish to take us through a theological discourse on what the name means, but allow me to shorten it this way. That his name means peace, and it also carries with it prosperity. And it is not prosperity necessarily the way we understand it, but it is all-round prosperity and flourishing. And definitely, if you do not have peace, you will not flourish. So it is God's desire, even as we conclude, to take up our responsibility and our place to ensure that as a continent, we can enjoy peace and all-round flourishing. To do so, ladies and gentlemen, will require courage. And courage, like we have been told, is not the absence of fear, but rather it is the conviction that something else is greater and is better. And in our case, peace, shalom, is greater, is better, and it is worth fighting for and ensuring that generations today and generations to come will enjoy shalom. So I'd like you to stand to your neighbor. You know, in Kiswahili, we once had mambo ni matatu tu. There are three, in other words, there are only three things that matter. Why don't you find three people and tell them shalom, shalom, shalom. And therefore, as we end tonight, it is my prayer and my hope that we have begun the journey towards the shalom of Africa. Thank you for coming, and may God richly bless you.
Thank you so much, our acting VC, the Left-Led Trufosa Kwaka Suba, for those closing remarks. And I'm sure you would want to see this happening again and again here at St. Paul's University. So any other time we get such an opportunity, please feel free to come and partner with us, and we will be able to do it even much better than the way we have done it today. Now, as we get into close this session, we need to appreciate one another. I know we all came and we registered, and we were all looking forward to ensure that at least we participate and we learn something, and at least take something home, and also take an action moving forward. We have certificates that we were to issue to all those who participated today, but because of time, we will not give to everyone. But if you came and you registered, you are going to get your certificate, either through Mr. Divina is there, maybe you can raise up your hand there, either after this or in a week's time, because I know there are those who participated and we didn't have their name, so we need to prepare for their certificates. But to represent that, I want to invite a few participants here so that they can receive the certificates from our facilitators or our speakers. And I want to request our two DVCs and our guest, Herbert, and even this side, we can get one person from this side. Walls, you can come. So that you can present these certificates to at least 5-6 participants, and then the rest, you ensure that you pick from Mr. Divina. So I will call names, and if I call your name, you can come, and then you can shake hands, and then you are going to receive your certificate. And some of these names, I don't know whether I'll be able to pronounce them well. If I don't pronounce your name well, be assured that I will give you a Kenyan name, if not a Kikuyu name. So you will get a name and a new name. And because the one I am about to call is just looking at me, and he has been very supportive in this program, Van der Law. Yes, Jelom. I didn't want to use the Jelom. I wanted to use the Van der Law. So kindly, let's appreciate him as he receives this certificate. You can give. And then the next person is Gregory Abel. Gregory Abel, I think. Abel. Yes, Gregory Derry. There is Abel and then Derry. Oh, you are here. Oh, okay. Gregory Derry, yes. Just come and receive this. You can give this. And then there is Lawin Ntezimana. Yes. Thank you. Let's appreciate him. You can face the camera. Yes. And then we have Gilbert. Yes, Gilbert is here. Then Gilbert will be followed by Susan Lutheran. Wow, she has been a very good interpreter, yes. She had to receive this.
She deserves 2 certificates because she had 2 languages.
Wow, okay, that's good.
I think this is the most difficult one to pronounce. Diedenan who? Selekabusa. I have baptized you. It's okay, just come. You have a new name. You need to help us pronounce your name now. What's your name?
Dieudonné.
Dieudonné. Okay, God's gift, that's what it means. Okay. And then we have Salafina, Sister Christopher. Is she allowed? Yes. And then the very last to represent all the others will be Benite. Is it Benite? No, this one we will go there. We have to go there. I will request the DPC to go there. Okay. Yeah, and now you can see why even she has to go home with a certificate. Let's appreciate her. Please, please, this one, she has to receive a certificate. Thank you. Let's appreciate her once again. Thank you. Thank you so much. She has really done quite a lot. I met with her down there, going up the stairs to Central Admin Block, and I can see the commitment and dedication that she has. Thank you so much. Now, before you sit down, kindly, before you sit down, we want to wrap up this. There are people that we need to appreciate because they have really done quite a lot of work, and I know they have been mentioned here, but allow me, we give them just a small token of appreciation, and I want us to begin with Professor Macharia. Kindly, if you can come and receive. Yes. And then Professor Macharia will be followed by Father Dr. Bila. And then we have Professor Mombo. Kindly, if you can come. Thank you so much. And we also have Patrick, the Deputy Ambassador. Kindly, if you can come and receive your appreciation. Thank you so much. Before our guests sit down, I want to request we start with the Yes, we can start with the Herbert. Yes, you receive something from St. Paul's University, something that is blooded here. Yes, so that when you go back, yes, when you go back to Germany, please represent SPU blood there. Yes. Thank you. You are most welcome. There are a number of things inside there. Once you open, you'll be able to see them. Then we have walls. And then finally, we have Jelom to come and present or receive something. He has really played a very key role in this conference. Yes. Thank you so much. We can take our seats. I think we can get one group photo. Yes, one photo for all of you. And then I want to request the other presenters, if you can join them. Kindly for this photo. You can remove this. You can make a clear curve. Just come in front. Yes, there, that's okay. Come closer here. You can close the gap a bit, close the gap there. Yes. That. I think I also need to join there, right?
Yes, please, for our souvenir. Sure.
Thank you so much. You may take your seats here. So, thank you so much. So everyone is going to get a certificate, so ensure that you get a certificate. And also there are those who facilitated the different groups. I'm also sure that either Divina or Dr. Amoyo will be reaching out to you. So thank you so much. May God bless you. May God bless all of us. Back to the MC.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mungai. That's wonderful. Thank you for appreciating everybody. Sometimes we appreciate people and we are not appreciated. So let's appreciate Mr. Mungai again. Thank you. I heard some whispers from some of the guests. They were saying that this is very well organized. They didn't know that I was listening. But we really thank God that we have come this far and now we need to finish. After this, we're going to have tea. You know, there is what we call a low tea and there is high tea. So maybe this one is going to be upstairs. I have no idea. But that is what I know we're going to have. So let me ask that we all stand. And I'm going to ask this mchungaji, this one, if you could come. Father, just come. And I'm asking you to come for two reasons. One reason is because you spoke very well, asked a very tough question, but you also got, I'm just giving him time to get here. So he asked a very tough question, but it was also answered by a very tough speaker, and therefore I think that equaled it very well. But the second reason is that you look like one of my students here, known as Reverend John Kamau from PCA. If you look at him, he looks exactly like him. I would like to ask him to close for us with a word of prayer, so that after that we can now exit and go and take our tea. Is that okay?
Yeah, I close in French. No problem. That's why I called you. Okay, I close in French. Yeah. Au nom du Père et du Fils et du Saint-Esprit. Amen. Seigneur notre Dieu, nous te disons merci pour cette journée si agréable et si enrichissante. Nous te disons merci pour tout ce que nous avons pu avoir et partager. Nous t'offrons toutes nos missions. Nous t'offrons le feu de la paix que chacun et chacune de nous va répandre partout où nous serons. Que ton Esprit Saint nous accompagne et nous donne la force de dire la vérité, d'être des bâtisseurs de paix, de fraternité, d'unité et de communion ici en Afrique et dans le monde entier. Nous te demandons par Jésus-Christ, ton Fils, notre Seigneur, notre Dieu, qui règne avec toi et le Saint-Esprit, maintenant et pour les siècles des siècles. Amen. Le Seigneur soit avec vous. Que le Dieu Tout-Puissant vous bénisse, le Père, le Fils et le Saint-Esprit. Bénissons le Seigneur. Merci beaucoup.
Amen, amen. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Now we can exit.